Hello, this is lecture, I guess, 13. And if you are curious, this is the first week of the semester, okay? At the end of lecture 12, we have finished the third week, and now we are entering the fourth week. The school has just announced that for not only 2 weeks, but 4 weeks, we are going to be the online lecture. So, I was kind of brief on everything in explaining things because I thought in the near future, we'll meet in the classroom and I will have a chance to explain more and have some fun. But, since we are not going to meet for more than at least 4 weeks, I'm going to prepare some pictures and things like that so that it would be more interesting to you, if possible, while you are looking at my lecture, listening to my lecture, watching my lecture from your home or computer or whatever. Trust me, believe or not, I'm a funny guy in the classroom. I'm just desperate to show you on online, but I don't know. Okay, what I have explained just lecture 12, at the end of lecture 12, is the case between Mr. Nolan and California Coastal Committee. Okay, I think it was unfair to explain things just by verbally because it really needs graphic demonstration. This is Professor Nolan's house, and you see these waves, they are Pacific Oceans. So, he must be a rich guy. There is a cliff, and Professor Nolan's house located in a cliff, and this red area must be Professor Nolan's property. Okay, so he owns not only the house, above the cliff. This is a cliff, and lower, ground is the beach, just next to the the Pacific Ocean. And then from his house, he can have a nice view toward the ocean. Okay, maybe in fine day he can see Korea from there. Just kidding. Okay, now he want to raise house one more floor. Maybe second floor he already has. He want to have a third floor. Then the California Coastal Committee, which overlook the scenery and environmental things and everything, says he cannot do that because there's a highway and many people park their car in the highway and look at the ocean from here. But then if Nolan's house get higher, they blockade the view from the highway. Okay, if that was the end of the story, there was no dispute. However, soon after, the California Coastal Committee says, we are planning to have a path. In Korean word, 올레길, something like that. And we really want the path to pass your private property. So if you allow this path to cross your property in front of your house, then we are gonna allow you to raise the house one more floor. The problem is, if the California Coastal Committee suggested, if you allow us have a path towards the beach from the highway, we are going to allow you. Then it makes sense. Why? Their explanation is this house will blockade the view from the highway. So if you raise, you should let the people on the highway to go down to the beach and look at the sea from there. That's logical. Instead, the California Coastal Committee said, they didn't mention about this road. They just mentioned, pass 올레길 on the beach. Okay, 올레길 is Korean word to have this like nice walking road kind of thing. Okay, so the California judge thought, why the California Coastal Committee government prevent Mr. Nolan to raise house? in order to get the right to pass through his the property. The California government should pay Nolan to make this road. But it seems as a result, they intervene the property right of Nolan. You cannot do that. And then says, if we allow this road, we will allow you. So they intrude Nolan's house without paying anything. They maybe overuse their power. So that doesn't seem so sincere when they say Nolan's house is blockading the view. Okay? If that was true, they would have suggested this way. Okay, so smart judge. Anyway, when you grow up, have a house, have a land, whatever, you would realize that the government can do really big damage on you because government is so powerful, so powerful. So the individuals has problem, but it's not only individuals' problem. If government do whatever they want to do while harming the property right of the people, that will prevent the individuals' profit-chasing behavior a lot. So that would cause inefficiency. For example, you made the money and have a hospital, okay? And why do you have a hospital? Okay, helping the poor people. Yeah, right. But in the end, you want to make money because you spend huge money, you borrow the money, and if you don't make a profit out of the hospital, then you would be in big trouble. But then there is a coronavirus spreading all over, pandemic. You naturally don't want to have any corona patient because that will greatly reduce your profit. Because once corona patients are in your hospital, people don't want to come to your hospital. They would go to another hospital where coronavirus does not exist. Okay? But this is the moment that government should use the taking power. The government says, okay, it's your private property right. However, this corona infection is so severe, and regardless of your wish that I don't want to have the corona patient, the government order you to do that. So the hospital is your own property, but government can force the patient into your hospital. Okay, that is an example of taking, and that is good example of taking. Okay, but if this thing happens a lot, let's say the corona infection happens a lot and all the time, like every other month, like 5 times a year, then always government put the corona patient into your hospital. Well, maybe you can do half a year, 1 year, but then you will soon realize, oh my God, I'm going to bankrupt. Not only you bankrupted, the all other people who thought about having a hospital say, oh, having a hospital, I cannot chase my profit. The government say, do this, do that, and do this, do that. And in the end, I would be bankrupted. So people will give up build hospitals. Who would be happy about it? Not really any people, because the people around the hospital say, oh my God, we don't have hospital anymore in our town. Even though my boy and my parents are sick, we have to drive 5-6 hours to Seoul because the government intervention with the private ownership of the hospital bankrupted, and people give up all the hospital. Now we have to drive a long way. Which is better? So the government has to use its power taking. Taking means preventing, interfering individual property right. They have to do that very rarely when it's really necessary. But if they begin to overuse it, then that breaks the system and everybody suffers. Okay, so this is a very important issue. One another interesting case is, when you want to have a house, you digging the land you own for the basement, and you found out there's something great. Relic. It looks like it buried there from Silla dynasty 1,000 years ago. And they have all these beautiful jars and this crown and things like that. How would you feel? You should feel terrible because you cannot own them, number one. Number two, your house would be postponed for a long time. You have to report to the government that I found this in my land. Then the government sends so many people there and they stay there and they do the research, what it is and things like that. They digging around a lot. That usually takes several years. So during the several years, you cannot use your land. You cannot build house or building on your land. That is, if you are the owner, huge loss on your part. So people's guess is when you found out some relic under the ground of your land, okay, cover it up. Don't report. So pretend as if you didn't find out. That is the best interest of you. So there's a delicate balance between what the government should do. Of course, you should find down the relic and you have to preserve it. But, that something which sounds so logical and so right would induce people hide things when they found some very old relics. Okay, so this is not a very logical and tiny business. You have to consider many things. Okay, next. Okay. Have you heard about intellectual property law? First of all, you would notice that these funny drawings. Who drew this? I did. Okay. Can you see what this is? Of course, I said Tim the Beaver. So this is the face of beaver. Does it look like the one you remember? I tried my best. I couldn't use the picture because that is against the intellectual property law, and I have to pay a lot at the court if I use someone else's picture. So I did my best to draw it. And this is another scene of beaver. The beaver, how do they live? They cut off the tree. They have big front teeth and they use it to cut the tree. Oh, poor beaver. It would take several days, maybe weeks to cut down one tree. And what do they use this tree? They make a lake. So there is a small stream, and then when beaver comes there, they make actually a dam. So they block the water so that there would be a big lake, pond, and the beaver lives in the middle of the pond. They build a house in the middle of the pond using this wood. The wood is being used, number one, to make the dam. And when they made the dam, there would be a big pond. And they used the wood to make, number two, the house in the middle of the pond. Why? Because there are so many wolves and foxes out there who want to eat beaver, so they have a safe house. They cannot cross the pond and they hide there and things like that. What is this? MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Yeah, I don't know whether you heard about it. It just happens I got my PhD at Harvard, okay, which located in Massachusetts, Cambridge, Massachusetts, near Boston. And the city of Cambridge has two universities, the western side, Harvard, the eastern side, MIT. And you all know MIT is famous of its engineering and science. And the mascot of MIT is beaver. The name is Tim the Beaver. No, can you get it? Like, the beaver is an animal who makes a dam, who construct. What is the job name? Who construct things? Something like that. Engineer. So the MIT naturally, maybe I'm still. It's so funny for me. From guy from Harvard, MIT thinks beaver is the animal, so they named the Tim the Beaver as their mascot. Okay. On the other end, what is the mascot Harvard? Harvard. John Harvard is a person 450 years ago who established the Harvard, and then it's like old guy with a big hat and kind of thing. Well, I don't know which is funnier, but Harvard is like social science and art and things like that, so they are interested in the human being mascot, and MIT is more interested in dams, so it's beaver. Why am I talking about beaver? My intention is not like laughing at the beaver and MIT, even though I did. The beaver, there is an old record about beaver, and it says the Indians, like 500 years ago, the Europeans arrived in America, and they found out the Indians have a system. What kind of system? Beaver is an animal they really want to catch. And if they, as I said, the tragedy of common, if they go out, kill all the beaver, there's no more beaver left. So what they did is, like the Maryland oyster, they divide up the forest, and the Native American A only get the beaver from area 1, and the Native American B get area 2, Native American C get area 3, so on and on. But as an economist, I cannot believe that. Okay, why? Maybe you can sneak into, nowadays, the oyster, you have a CCTV and everything. So if fisherman A go to other fisherman's area and catch that, maybe we can have a CCTV to catch him, or barbed wire so that nobody can get in, something like that. However, 500 years ago, in the middle of the forest, if the Native American Indian A enter Native American B's area and catch this valuable beaver, beaver is so expensive. Maybe it's like, if you catch one beaver, it's like you have a new car. Okay, one beaver, one car kind of thing. Okay, so if you catch, by the way, the reason is the European ladies love beaver clothes and things like that. So beaver fur. So whatever they caught in America, the beaver fur, the Europeans purchased at a very expensive price. So when you cheat your friends and get into his area and catch one beaver, you can have one car. And your friend might say, oh, I think the beaver is my beaver. Say, no, it's mine. Do you want to do DNA test or something? No, at that time, it wasn't possible. Maybe your friend, Native American B, is suspicious, but he can never prove it. So, even though the Europeans wrote down, the Americans' system, they divide up the area, forest, and they catch beaver only from their area, the modern economists didn't believe it. Okay, that is prisoner's dilemma situation, tragedy of common, and they would never keep the promise. They would sneak out to the other guy's area, which would be true. I mean, the economists say, we know everything because everything is the same. Everything works according to economic law. And when you look at what the lawyers and judges do in the real world, they have no consistency. Sometimes, you're right. Sometimes you're right. Okay, something like that. However, the economy is a very good principle which can be applied to everything. Okay? But here, even though I'm economist, I want to point out what is the shortcoming of economics. The reason is, contrary to economics expectation, the beaver division was possible. Why? Everything depends on how do you catch the beaver. Have you ever catch the beaver? Can you shoot the beaver? Can you hit the beaver? One is you have a big rod and hit the beaver and kill him. Or you have an arrow, shoot him. Or rifle, shoot him. How do you catch the beaver? You cannot do that. Beaver is an animal who is very careful. He's so careful, he spends tons of time to cut off these great trees, make a pond, not only house, make a dam and make a pond first, lake first, and then build a house in the middle of a lake. So whenever he smells something and hears something, he jumps into the lake and go to his house. So even though you are living in a beaver-infested, populated forest, it's very tough for you to see any beaver there. You know that there are 100 beavers out there around you, but you cannot see it because when you are like 100 meters away, the beaver smells you, beaver hears you, and they go back to their house. Never comes out. Then how can you catch the beaver? They set a trap. So when you set a trap, maybe it takes several days for the beaver to get near and trapped. But then let's think about that. Native Indian bee walk around his territory every day and found out someone set a trap which does not belong to him. And he said, oh, the Native American A or C, those bad boys, they set a trap. He can get rid of the trap, or if there's a beaver in it, he can get the beaver. So the simple fact, how to hunt the beaver is only by the trap, changed the whole game. If it was a rifle or a stone or a rod that can kill the beaver, of course, this promise to keep their own territory would never be expected to be kept. Okay, everybody is greedy. They will sneak into other people's territory and get other people's beaver. However, because the only way to catch the beaver is by trap, then it takes a long time, and the owner can find the trap set by other people. So, whatever sneaky behavior you may do, they will find it out. So the point is, economists stay home. They never go out. They just look at what is the mathematical principle. That is good because the legal side people, they know the details. That's their strength. However, they only many times know the strength. They do not know what is the common logic. That's what I'm thinking. So I think studying the general principle by economics and as well as the maybe more important details by law, we can understand the world better. So what is the best class in Yonsei University? Law and Economics. Okay, see you next time.